Hey YouTube family, it's Humberto from GrayLaw TV. We're going to provide you with some content regarding the I-751 petition. So this petition is where you have a conditional resident card and you want to remove the condition to get your permanent green card. This segment is going to talk specifically about when the marriage breaks down. What do? You can file the petition on your own. It's called a waiver, an I-751 waiver. You don't have to file a joint petition. A lot of people don't know this. If your spouse dies or the marriage breaks down, you're able to file on your own. It's called an I-751 petition. So under what circumstances can you file this petition? Number one, if your spouse dies, you're still able to file the petition on your own. Number two, if the marriage breaks down and it results in a divorce, you can file on your own. You still have to prove that the marriage was valid, however. Okay, and we'll talk about that later. Number three, if you were subject to cruelty by your spouse, you can file. It's sort of a battered spouse petition. Number four, you can prove extreme hardship if you were deported or returned to your home country. This is sort of an asylum type standard, okay? But today I'm going to focus on when the marriage is terminated through divorce or annulment, okay? It's a very specific standard. It can get a little tricky, so you need to file the application 90 days prior to expiration. Okay? And that's a very important date because if you don't, you may be subject to deportation. They can send what's called an NTA. This is a notice to appear in front of an immigration judge. And you'll be under deportation proceedings, and it could be a little tricky in that circumstance. So you need to file 90 days prior to the expiration of your conditional green card. So how do you file this application? Okay, the way you file this application is you need two things. Number one, you need joint documentation from the date you got the green card over the 2-year period to show that the marriage was valid. Joint taxes, joint bank account, health insurance, life insurance, car insurance, letters from family and friends, photos. We have other segments that we've spoken about, what type of evidence can be used. I did a recent segment on social media and how you can use that to support your petition. So you can use that as well in this I-751 petition. The second thing that you need is you need a final divorce decree or annulment. The case will be denied if you do not have that. So this can get a little tricky in terms of the timing as well. So the timing, once you file this application, today it's taking about 2 years to get to the interview. So let's say 90 days prior to the expiration, you file the petition jointly with your spouse because you were still married. Let's say 2 months later, you started having problems. So you're trying to work it out. So now you're 6 months past the expiration date. And let's say at that point, you file for the divorce. And let's say it's a messy divorce. There's a lot of assets that needs to be divided. And let's say at the time of the interview, so 2 years later, you don't have the final decree. That could be problematic. They can deny your case if the divorce is not final. So make sure that if you're going to file this case as a waiver, filing on your own by yourself and not with your spouse, you want to make sure that, at the end of the day, you got 2 years that you have a final divorce decree. Now, what happens when you file this petition? So you're going to get a receipt, and this receipt extends your conditional green card for a 2-year period. With that original receipt, you can travel, you can engage in employment. It automatically extends your conditional green card. Now, this can get a little tricky too, because what the receipt says is that we hereby extend your conditional green card for 18 months from the date that it expired. Now, USCIS permits for late filing. Let's say you were having problems with the marriage and your conditional green card expires and you haven't filed anything yet, you can do a late filing. The law permits for late filing for various circumstances. You have to show good cause for the late filing. Number one, the marriage was breaking down. We were going to marriage counseling. I really didn't know if we were going to stay together. That could be a reason. Financial hardship could be a reason. There's various reasons that immigration can allow you to file late. So if you have any questions regarding whether or not to file, rule of thumb is file. Even if it's late, you file. Now, with regard to that receipt, so let's say your conditional card has expired, and let's say you file late about 1.5 years after the expiration of that conditional card. So you're going to get a receipt, and it says your conditional card has been extended for 18 months from the expiration date. So at that point, it's been 1.5 years, it's been 18 months. So that receipt is not going to be good for travel or work. So what you need to do is take that receipt to your local district office, and they will place a stamp in your passport. And that stamp in your passport will prove that you've extended your conditional green card, and that stamp will be valid for travel. Okay, so you want to make sure before you travel, if you have that receipt, you want to check those dates on that receipt, make sure it's still valid, and then you can travel. Very important. So what happens at the time of the interview? We have other segments that will talk about that, but one tip I want to give you. So now you have your appointment at USCIS, and they're determining whether or not the marriage was entered into in good faith and was terminated through divorce or annulment. And let's say you have good joint documents. Let's say you have your final decree. What's the most important factor in getting your conditional status removed and your permanent green card issued? Credibility. Okay? The officer is going to ask you, just tell your story. What happened in the relationship? They want to know. They're looking at you and they're seeing if your story is matching up. And the bottom line is, if you're credible, if you're honest, they will approve your permanent green card. They will ask you questions. When did you meet? How did you meet? So not only does your testimony have to be consistent with your initial interview that you had with your spouse, it has to match up. But they also want to know what happened. And another tip I can give you that's very important, you want to talk about the good stuff in the marriage. You want to talk about how good it was initially, how you love this person, the things that you did together over the last 2 years, how things were good, okay? So I would say 80% of your testimony has to be how you love this person. Okay? 10% will be what happened. Okay? You went to marriage counseling, things broke down. My husband started drinking, or my wife started drinking. Things really broke down, and it was unfortunate. I loved this person. I still love this person, but things didn't work out, and we got divorced, and that's what happened. So you want to be honest and truthful. Thanks so much for watching GrayLaw TV. Click below, like and subscribe, please. Press the notification button and the bell so that you'll be notified when new content is coming, because we have a lot of content that we'd love to share with you in 2020.
Hey guys, this is Courtney and Humberto with GrayLaw TV, and today we're going to do a mock I-751 interview waiver for removal of conditions. So this is what happens when you've gotten married to a U.S. citizen, and then you apply for your green card. You've been married for less than 2 years, and so they give you a conditional green card. Then you have to go back at the end of the 2 years and remove the condition so you can get your permanent 10-year green card. And they want to see that you're still married, or if you're not married anymore, that's okay, but you have to show them that your marriage was legitimate.
Exactly. So, the bottom line is you can file on your own. So this is a waiver interview. So the marriage broke down, there's a couple of different circumstances. Earlier I did a video on exactly what the I-751 waiver is. We've already seen that segment because we'll play that before this segment. So this is the mock interview for the waiver. Alrighty? So we're going to get into character here, right? And this is Courtney Morgan from Brazil, and I'm the officer. So I'm going to be a little bit tough. I'm going to be nice, but a little bit tough. And, you're going to see what not to do here, okay? The petition and the interview is usually based on credibility. That's the most important point.
Right.
You have to be credible. You're there by yourself. You have to tell your story. What happened with the marriage? Okay, that's
And I'm
most
pretty
important.
incredible, so.
You are incredible. Courtney. All right. Hello, Miss Morgan. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, do you know why you're here today?
I think to get my green card renewed or something like that.
Okay, that's correct. And where's your husband?
I have no idea.
When's the last time you spoke to your husband?
Oh, it was months ago, thank God.
Why, thank God.
He's horrible.
He's horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into some facts, and I'm going to take some notes, okay? Because
Okay.
this is really important. And so I'm going to place you under oath. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Uh-huh.
And you understand this interview is under penalty of perjury. If you lie, there could be some severe consequences.
Like what?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So the consequences are you could be found permanently barred from ever applying for another application again to the USA.
Okay.
Okay? Do you want to continue, or would you like to withdraw your application?
I think I want to continue.
Okay, very good. So, when did you first meet your husband?
Beginning of 2017, end of 2016, maybe the end of 2016.
The end of 2016?
I think so.
Are you guessing?
I don't know.
When you first met him?
I think it was like before Christmas, 2016, like the end of 2016.
The end of 2016?
Yeah.
Okay. And when were you married?
I don't know, like 6 weeks later.
Why so fast?
We were in love. We're stupid. I don't know.
How can you fall in love in 6 weeks?
Oh, we fell in love in like 2 days.
Okay. Okay. And so you got the green card. I'm looking here. The conditional green card you got in 2017. So when did you file this application?
Like a few days after we got married. Like right when we got their certificate.
So you met him, you dated for a couple of weeks, you got married, and you filed immediately after. What was your intention prior to filing for the first green card? Was your intention to defraud the U.S. government?
No.
Because you had things going pretty quickly here. Okay, so you received the conditional green card, and so how long did you live together?
Maybe like a year, maybe a little less than a year.
So far, I'm kind of feeling that you're not being very honest, and I must remind you,
Why?
because there's inconsistencies with information that I have received from reliable sources within the government who's investigated your case, and you're contradicting what that evidence might suggest. So,
Well, we were married. I mean, it was short. It was like Kardashian style, but like we were married.
Ma'am, when I speak, please, you just be quiet, okay? Now, I'm going to give you a chance here, but if you don't remember something, don't guess, please, because I have all the information here.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Now,
I have it all here.
so what is the exact date of your separation from your husband?
The exact date, I don't know, like the day of the week or anything, but like it was, I think like it was end of summer, so it was like September
Of what year?
of 2017.
So you got your green card, your conditional green card, in late 2017, and you separated shortly
Around
thereafter.
the same time. We were fighting at the interview, I remember that.
Because earlier you said you lived with him for a year.
Almost a year. We were together for almost a year.
Yeah? Okay. My notes from an investigation shows that immediately after you received your green card, you separated from your husband.
No. We were together for about a year.
About a year? Well, the investigator says that at the apartment that you claim you were last living, that they went to the manager and they said that they have not seen your husband for 2 years.
Oh, I don't know why they would say that. I mean, he wasn't on the lease. Like, the lease was my lease.
And why was he not on the lease?
Because, I mean, that's just the way it worked. He has, like, bad credit. And so we put it in my name. And I was, at the first one, I was living there. And so then he moved in with me. We didn't really tell the landlord.
We'll get to the places of residence later. Okay. Have you ever met his parents?
No, I never met his parents.
Where do they live? Do you know?
I think they live in Kansas.
Did he ever talk about that?
Not really. He didn't really talk too much about his childhood or his past. I think there was something there.
Did you ever ask him?
Yeah, I tried to, but he wasn't really chatty. He was really about, like, living for today and that kind of thing.
Does he have siblings?
I think maybe he has a sister. But he
Did you ever meet the sister?
No.
No?
No, I never met anyone.
Has he met your family?
No, they're in Brazil.
And they don't have visitor visas to come to the U.S.?
No.
Any Skype calls? Any FaceTime?
Like, I FaceTime with my mom, and so they've chatted, like, once or twice. She thought he was cute. She doesn't really care.
So where have you lived in the last 3 years after you met your former spouse?
I've had, like, 3 different apartments.
Okay, and has he lived with you in all 3 of those apartments?
No, because we were only together for a year, so.
Did he live with you at an apartment
Yes.
for the year?
Yes.
And which apartment was that?
That-
Number 1, 2, or 3?
That was the first one.
The first apartment?
Yeah.
Okay. And what dates did you live at that apartment?
So I moved in there before I met him, and then he moved out, I think, like, September of 2017. He moved in with me, like a week after we met.
Okay. When did you file for your divorce? Or have you?
Like a month ago.
A month ago?
Yeah.
Do you understand that your case can be denied because you're not divorced from your U.S. citizen
Well, right.
husband?
They're like, you filed late, and then I'm like, well, I'm not divorced, and I have to be divorced to file this. And then they're like, but you can't get this unless you're divorced. So it's like I feel like I'm stuck. So I'm just filing so you guys know what I plan on
Okay,
doing.
so this year is 2020.
Yep.
You separated late 2017.
Yep.
So it's been 3 years.
It's expensive.
You didn't have the money to file a divorce?
No, and, like, you know, sometimes things linger.
How much did that divorce cost you?
Like $500.
Did you file or did he file?
I filed.
And you couldn't afford $500 in 3 years.
No, I mean, it sounds like in 3 years maybe I could have put stuff away, but it's like pay $500 right now, and I just never have it.
Okay, well.
I'm a nanny. I don't make a lot of money.
So this case
It's
is going to be
expensive.
continued, and we're going to give you 90 days to get your final divorce decree, and if you don't, your case will be denied and you'll be placed under deportation proceedings.
And then what can I do?
Well, you can consult with an attorney, and they'll advise you what you need to do.
Okay, so what you do
I got her.
What you do is you file again. Okay, once you have your divorce decree and you can show that, you know, you filed in good faith, you didn't have your divorce decree yet, you were waiting for it to come through, and now you have it, and so you're filing again. So if they deny it, you can file again. I wouldn't let too much space go on, and what we're trying to show here is, you know, you really have to be on top of things. Then we'll ask you questions. Why did you wait 3 years to do this? You separated so long ago. And then also just the idea of being respectful to the officer. He's a bit of a grump, okay, but
I'm never grumpy.
okay. And then They don't like to be talked over. They don't like it when you say mm-hmm. They want you to very clearly say yes and no, and to make it very easy for them. And then, if they get a little strong on you, that's okay. Just be kind anyway. There's no reason to say, well, I know everything. I have it all locked up here, when, obviously you don't.
So also, if they issue what's called an NTA, and now you find yourself in front of the judge, you have an opportunity in front of the judge to have the judge review your I-751 petition, and hopefully you'll have the divorce by that time, and the judge can remove your condition and grant your green card. So thanks for watching GrayLaw TV. Click below, like and subscribe.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
What about the notification button?
Okay. There's a notification button, and if you click on that, they'll send you our videos.
Yeah, you'll get our content. It'll pop up. Boop, new video.
Yeah. Boop.
All right.
What will it do, Humberto?
Boop.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Bye.
New Year.